If you are nervous or even afraid to do surveillance, this week's video is for you. I'm going to share with you some ideas about how this can be a little easier for you and how maybe you should put your mind around it. Hi, I'm Larry Kay with ShadowAnyone.com. I'm the creator of the Investigator's Ultimate Guide series, which is premium private investigator training from someone who's been there and done that. That includes the Investigator's Ultimate Guide to Surveillance, and I was no different than you. You know, surveillance made me nervous. I a lot of times didn't like it. Oh, how do you get past that? How do you do that? Because especially for little guys, we need those cases. And sometimes we're working on cases that don't necessarily directly require surveillance as a billable service, but it's part of the overall equation. And for process serving, for example, that might be an example you can understand where you're trying to serve somebody who's skipped out. You've got a possible location where they may show up and you're going to have to stake out or surveil that area, even if you don't have to actually follow them afterwards. Now, this is one of those things that I emphasize this to you. Be careful who you learn this stuff from. Don't learn it from a travel agent. And what I mean by that is, a travel agent is someone who wants to send you where they haven't gone. I'm a tour guide. I'm going to take you along with me. I've been there, done that. So here's the thinking that I've learned about kind of new and scary things in general, but it really fits well with the idea of surveillance. That you should try it, whatever that scary thing is, including, I would say, surveillance. Give this serious consideration. You should try it 3 times. The first time is just to get over the fear of it. And there's a lot of things in life that you do it once and you go, okay, that wasn't as bad as what I thought it was. I've told you the story before. When I was in boot camp, we had to go through a smokehouse, this smoke-filled environment. You couldn't even open your eyes. You just hung on to the shirt tail of the guy in front of you, and you kind of felt your way along to go through and get out of it. For a very unjust reason, I had to go through it twice. Here's what I discovered. The first time, I just wanted to get through it. It was just a matter of straight survival. Can I do this? The second time I went through, I gained some comfort with it. Okay, here's what's going on. It's not different and new and scary. I've done this before. And in fact, they elevated, they made it much more difficult the second time I went through, but I still found it much easier. So, surveillance, do it once just to get over the fear of it. Now, the reality is that's not going to be all it takes. You're still going to be nervous and maybe even afraid on future ones, but getting from 0 to 1, that's a big leap right there. Do surveillance a second time to gain some competence with it. Now, again, it's not just going to all come flooding to you, but that first time you're getting over the nervousness and the fear. The second time, you can really begin to kind of like not tunnel vision so much, open up and get more of a feel for, okay, I can see how that light 1 block away from me is changing to red, so I don't have to race up and catch this guy. He's going to get stuck at that light. I'm going to come right up behind him, maybe even have that blocker vehicle between us. The second time, you say, okay, I've done this. It's not the end of the world. I survived. Hopefully did not get burned, and that's a big deal. That's why I'm such a proponent of the Investigator's Ultimate Guide to Surveillance. There's a lot of information there, a lot of which you may know, but all you got to do is learn one thing that keeps you from being burned, and it's worth the entire cost of the course for your lifetime. It's the worst feeling in the world getting burned. You would pay anything to take back the 10 seconds or fix the mistake that got you burned. You know what? Be a little proactive about it. Invest in a course. If one time you don't get burned because of something you learned in a course, totally worth it. But I think you're going to learn a lot of other things as well. And if you do see that there's a lot in there that you already know, you can say to yourself, okay, no one's holding back the secrets on this from me. Larry has emptied the bucket. He's shared everything with me. I know what I need to know to go out and do this. Now, when you do surveillance for the second time, that doesn't mean you're going to all of a sudden be competent at it, but you're going to be more competent at it. You're going to be better at it than you were the first time. So that's a good reason to do surveillance twice. You should do surveillance the third time just now to see if you like it. The first time you're afraid, you're going to either hate it or you're just not even going to be, you're going to be in sensory overload. The second time you're kind of like, okay, I'm getting a feel for this. I see a little bit more. And I remember this thing from the last time. You're building that confidence. The third time, now you can get a feel. Is this something I actually like? Is it something that I can do? If you're just miserable every single time, then maybe it's not for you, right? But if you find yourself becoming more comfortable with it, if you like, maybe you like some of the associated things that you like, the cash, the extra cases, the cases you can take now that you weren't able to take before because you couldn't, shouldn't, wouldn't do surveillance. Once you have the shouldn't is a little scary, but if you learn the skills, maybe now you should be trying it. So the third time to do surveillance is to kind of get to see if you like it, or to see if it's at least not something that you hate, that you have dread. Really, honestly, if it falls into that category, there are certain things that, I can do very well, but I don't like, but I'll do them for, say, the money, or I'll do them to help this one particular client. But if that's where you end up with surveillance, okay, that's where you end up. If you find you like it, more power to you. So please consider, with this skill set or any skill set, if you're afraid to do something, just think about doing it 3 times. You get those benefits out of it. If you have any ideas, suggestions, thoughts about this, please share them with me. I'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, this is Larry K with ShadowAnyone.com. Remember, do the right thing, even if it's the hard thing.